Hello and welcome to the Dragon Shed for this month's 3-minute skill. This is slightly more of a project, so I expect this is going to be a bit more than 3 minutes. But my friend has asked me to make a storage roll for her crochet needles and bits and pieces. So this technique is basically how you make a pencil roll or a brush roll, but obviously adapting it for crochet. So I've worked out a rough idea of where things are going and how it's going to fit together. And I expect this to change completely before I finish, which is the nature of these things. So first of all, started with my outside fabric, which is a nice sewing themed print, and then a lining fabric which is nice and bright. And standard crochet needles are 6 inches long, so I've gone for a 20cm height with an 8cm fold at the bottom, and then a pocket that folds at the top. So what I've also done is pinned together just on this angle, because I'm not quite sure how long it's going to be. So if I start this way, I can then build it along. And I've also put in a strip of elastic to hold everything in. So I've obviously left this long because again I don't know how long it's going to be in the end. So first things first, I need to sew this angle here and across the top for the zip. Okay, so I've done the initial sewing. So I've sewn through onto the zip, so that's fixed with a nice neat hem there, and then up and down this right angle. Now if you're just doing a plain roll, you don't need to do the top bit, the pocket here, but I find that's useful for things like sharpeners and rubbers and that kind of thing if you're doing pencils. Or in this case she wants something to put her stitch counter and pins and that kind of thing, and having pockets at the top would be ideal for that. So to give it a bit of strength, I'm using some EPA foam. Now this came in a very tight roll, so I've just kind of rolled it back on itself a couple of times to get rid of most of that. It's not going to be a big issue in the long run, but just to get it sitting pretty much flat. Now I've cut this to 18 centimetres. I know I was intending for a 20, but I think with the extra bulk the zip's going to add, that extra bit of fold will be useful. So what I'm going to do is pin this to the outer fabric about 8 centimetres up on this side. Look at it as close to the seam as possible, and a square as well. 1 for presentation and 2 so it doesn't get in the way of anything else. So that there, I'm only going to pin it to this outer fabric because it's going to get in the way when I start turning things through. So I'm peeling back this layer and then finger underneath so I can feel where it's going. Like that. Only want a couple of pins really, just so that it's neatly in place and stays there whilst I'm turning everything through. So there, like that. So now I'm going to turn this right side through, making sure to push all the corners out just for a neat finish. If you want curved corners, make them curved. If you don't, and make sure you press them out. So again, pushing out the corners like that. So now, just want to make sure this all sits flat and neat. If you want to, you can press it . Some pressure on that without actually pressing it. I'm just going to hold it down so I can feel the foam is right where it needs to be. So I'll just make sure that the lining isn't too visible on the outside, and then stick a pin or two in this direction. This is the inside. Here I've got my central strap. Here I've got my fold. Yeah. The foam was shifted. If your fabric's thicker, you can stick the foam to it, but I find it ends up coming, the glue ends up coming through and it doesn't look neat at the end. So it's lifting up this piece here. I'm just going to pin through that on this side and stick another one somewhere in the middle. Now hopefully you're seeing where I'm starting from here. So the crochet needles go under the elastic and then into the pocket, like that. So they're held top and bottom, and then we've got this pocket piece here, which will fold once it's sewn down, with all the pins and stitch counters and that kind of thing, and then she can roll it simply like that. So at least that's the plan. So for now I need to stabilise these edges a little more. So what I'm going to do is sew along the base of the zip, and then down the sides and across the bottom. Okay, so pretty much finished. I've got all my slots stitched. I've only done a couple of loops around the very top and then brought one down just to extend the strength of the stitching. And for her pair of scissors, I've done a couple more stitches on the side here, just so that it's got a bit more strength to it, just for holding the blades. So that is pretty much done. One thing I can't finish, not really, is where the button goes. Because without all the filling and stuff in, can't see where it needs to be. So what I'm going to do is roll it up the way I intend for it to be, and just use a safety pin to hold the button into place, and then when it gets to its recipient she can put the button wherever she wants it. So that is how to make a travel roll. Now I've said before, you can use this for pretty much anything. So pencils, paintbrushes, some tools will go in this kind of thing, but you'd need leather or something quite sturdy to hold it in. You may need more than one strap across it, but that is pretty much it. So yeah, I'll see you